Lent begins on Wednesday, and now is a good time to be wondering what this season will mean for us. How can we begin to prepare our hearts to journey to the cross with Christ? My name is Angela, and I'm one of the campus ministers here at SLU. As you may have heard last week, campus ministry is inviting us this Lent to explore as a community how our use, or really our overuse, of alcohol impacts our faith. Some of us in campus ministry have been reflecting on and praying about drinking at SLU for a while now. And our reflection has reminded me of an experience that I once had when I was in college. I spent my sophomore year in Austria with 39 other students. We traveled together, we became like a big family, and we came to love each other very much. It was the most powerful experience of community that I've ever had. And we drank. A lot. It was Austria, the beer was good, and we were legal. We were being safe. We weren't driving, we were watching out for one another. We stuck together. We drank a lot. And as the year neared its close, we grieved the thought of leaving each other in this wonderful place where we shared so much. Our last weekend in Austria also happened to be Easter weekend, but we weren't too concerned about church. We were far more preoccupied with our goodbyes. So our last Friday in town, we celebrated by stumbling to all of our favorite bars, grieving our impending party, retelling stories that we told 100 times already, and we drank, like we always do. We drank our favorite beers at every stop along the way. And as we walked together to another bar, I saw an alcove tucked away by a church. I stopped and told my friends to go on without me. I'd catch up. And in that alcove was a large crucifix, Jesus on the cross. I stopped. I stood there. It was Good Friday. Here was Jesus hanging on a cross in front of me, and I was drunk. I suddenly knew, despite the haziness of my thoughts, that here, with Christ on Good Friday, was where I was supposed to be. I knew it. Christ was reaching out to me, asking me to be with him, and I was too drunk to respond. I'd put myself in a position where I couldn't receive Christ's call. I felt so ashamed, so disappointed in myself. I knew that I was meant for something deeper and richer and truer. And in those moments, I knew that I blew it. I stood there crying, weeping, really. And then some people came out of the church, and I ran away. I didn't want to be caught tearing and crying in front of the cross. I stumbled back to the bar, I rejoined my friends, and I bought another beer. And now, 10 years later, I don't remember the stories that we told that night. And I don't remember which bars we went to, but I remember the cross. I remember Jesus calling me to witness his suffering and death. And I remember being unable to respond, unable to be really present. That's just one little story. But I bet there are very few people in this room who don't have a story of their own, who haven't been impacted by drunkenness at all. Maybe your head is still hurting from Mardi Gras yesterday. Maybe you've had to babysit a drunk friend. Maybe you've been waken up by the ambulance lights up back in the residence halls. Maybe it's in your family back home. But it touches us all, and rarely for the better. Lent starts Wednesday, and that cross is coming. Maybe we're not going to be gazing on a wooden cross in Europe, but there are crosses everywhere. When we numb ourselves by drinking, are we able to be present to the ways that our friends are suffering here, today, now? Can we be present to the crosses that they bear? And what of the crosses that we bear? Can we really respond when we're wasted? So, here's the challenge. What if we all gave up being drunk for Lent? 40 days sober. What if we stopped being wasted for 40 days to see what God might plant in our hearts instead? To see if life begins to feel a little truer, a little bolder, a little better. To see if we can really see Christ. Okay, maybe you don't get drunk. Well, maybe there's something else in your life that you use or abuse. An addiction that's interfering with your ability to respond to God. Maybe you just don't want to give up getting drunk. Okay, it's not a big deal, everyone does it, I'm legal, it'd be weird with my friends. Well, maybe press yourself a little bit on that. If it's not a big deal, then why not just give staying sober a try? 40 days sober, all of us. Wouldn't that be something? So think about it. Pray about it. Check out our Live Good website. Listen to more reflections like this at Mass in the coming weeks. Make this year, this Lent, count. The cross is coming. All that we have to risk is the possibility of growing closer to God, of being a better friend, and being really able to be present to Jesus in his passion this year. That's a risk I'm willing to take. Will you? May God strengthen us and give us all courage as we prepare to start this journey.